You're putting away $500 a month. You're doing everything right. So why does it feel like you're standing still? Here's the thing. Most people think saving money is the hard part. But it's not. The hard part is watching that number grow and still feeling broke. Like you're trapped in some kind of financial slow motion. You check your balance. You see progress. But your life looks exactly the same. And that feeling, that quiet frustration, it's not because you're failing. It's because you've been lied to about what $500 a month actually does. Let me show you something. $500 a month times 12 months. That's $6,000 a year. Not bad, right? In 5 years, you got $30,000 sitting there. Maybe more if you're earning a little interest. On paper, that sounds like progress. That sounds like you're building something real. But here's what nobody tells you. $30,000 doesn't change your life. It doesn't move the needle on freedom. It doesn't pull you out of the grind. What it does is give you a slightly thicker cushion while you keep doing the exact same things you were doing before. And that's the trap. See, we've been taught that saving is winning. That putting money away automatically means you're ahead. And technically, sure, you are. But ahead of what? Ahead of the person saving nothing? Absolutely. Ahead of your own goals, your own life, your own timeline. That's where it falls apart. Because $500 a month isn't useless. But the way most people use it, that makes it feel useless. Let me explain. Think about how you feel when you save. There's this sense of responsibility, right? This little voice that says, I'm being smart. I'm being responsible. I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to do. And that voice, it's not wrong, but it's also not giving you the full picture. Because saving for the sake of saving is like running on a treadmill. You're moving, you're sweating, you're putting in the work. But when you step off and look around, you're still in the same room. The problem isn't the $500. The problem is what the $500 is connected to. Or more importantly, what it's not connected to. Most people are saving without a target, without a reason that actually matters. They are told to save for emergencies or the future or retirement, and those things sound important, so they do it. But emergencies are vague. The future is abstract. Retirement is decades away. And your brain doesn't get excited about vague, abstract things that are decades away. So you save, and it feels hollow. It feels like discipline without reward, like you're pouring water into a bucket with no bottom. And here's where it gets worse. While you're saving that $500, life is still happening. Rent is still due. Groceries still cost money. Your car breaks down. Your phone dies. Your friends want to go out. And you say yes because saying no feels like you're putting life on hold. And suddenly, that $500 you saved, it's gone. Not because you were reckless, but because life demanded it. And now you're back to zero. And the cycle starts again. This is the invisible problem with small, steady saving. It works in theory, but in practice, it gets eaten alive by the present, by the now, by the constant low-level financial pressure that never really goes away. So what's the fix? Well, here's what most people won't tell you, because it sounds too simple or too obvious or too uncomfortable. You have to stop thinking of $500 as savings. You have to start thinking of it as fuel. Let me break that down. Savings are passive. Fuel is active. Savings sit there and wait. Fuel moves. It accelerates. It creates momentum. And momentum is what changes your life. Here's what I mean. Let's say you take that same $500 a month and instead of just saving it, you ask yourself one question. What could this build? Not what could I buy? Not what could I protect myself from? But what could this build? Because $500 a month, used intentionally, can build a skill. It can build a side income. It can build a portfolio. It can build leverage. And leverage is the only thing that actually changes the game. Think about it like this. If you save $500 a month for 5 years, you've got $30,000. That's a safety net. That's nice. But if you invest $500 a month into learning a high-income skill, or starting a small business, or building a freelance client base, in 5 years, you might not have $30,000 sitting in a bank. You might have $5,000 a month coming in, every month, without you trading more hours for it. See the difference? One is addition. The other is multiplication. And here's the thing most people miss. You don't have to choose between them. You don't have to go all in on risk and abandon security. But you do have to shift the ratio. You have to stop letting 100% of your surplus sit still. Because sitting still feels safe. But it's also the reason you feel stuck. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if I fail? What if I invest that money into something and it doesn't work? And that's a fair question. That fear is real. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Saving $500 a month and watching it disappear into life's emergencies. That's failing too. It's just failing slowly. Failing quietly. Failing in a way that society calls responsible. But you feel it. You know something's off. You know that working hard, saving diligently, and still feeling financially powerless isn't the dream you signed up for. So let's reframe the question. It's not what if I fail. It's what's the cost of staying exactly where I am. Because that cost? It's time. It's years. It's the slow erosion of belief that anything can actually change. And that's the real danger. All right, so how do you actually fix this? How do you take $500 a month and make it feel like it's doing something? Step 1, and this is the most important part, you give it a job. Not a vague job. Not save for the future. A specific, emotionally charged, time-sensitive job. Here's an example. Let's say your goal is to quit your job in 3 years. Not retire. Not escape forever. Just quit the thing that's draining you and transition into something you actually control. That's a real goal. That's something your brain can lock onto. Now, reverse engineer it. If you want to quit in 3 years, what do you need? You need either enough saved to cover your expenses while you build something new, or you need income replacing your salary before you leave. Probably both. So now your $500 has a mission. Maybe $250 goes into a freedom fund that covers 6 months of expenses, and $250 goes into building a skill or side income that could replace your salary. Same $500. Totally different energy. Because now when you save, you're not just being responsible. You're counting down. You're building an escape plan. And that makes every dollar feel like progress. Step 2, and this is where people get tripped up, you have to accept that $500 a month is not enough to do everything. It's not enough to save, invest, build, and live comfortably all at once. So you have to choose. And most people don't choose. They try to do a little bit of everything and end up doing nothing well. They save $100, invest $50, spend $200 on improvement, and then wonder why nothing ever changes. But here's the secret. Concentration beats diversification when you're starting out. If you got $500 a month and you're trying to change your life, don't spread it thin. Pick one thing, one goal, one lever, and pull it hard. Maybe that maxing out a Roth IRA for tax-free growth. Maybe that paying off high-interest debt so you stop bleeding money. Maybe that's investing in a course or coaching that teaches you a skill worth $10,000 a month. Whatever it is, go all in on that one thing until it's done. Then move to the next. Because partial effort creates partial results. And partial results feel like failure. Step 3. And this is a psychological shift that changes everything. You have to stop measuring success by the balance in your account. I know that sounds backward, but hear me out. When you only measure success by how much you've saved, you're training your brain to value hoarding over momentum. You're teaching yourself that the goal is the pile, not what the pile can do. But piles don't change your life. Action does. Leverage does. Income does. So start measuring success by different metrics. How many new skills did you learn this quarter? How many income streams did you test? How much closer are you to replacing your salary? How much less dependent are you on your job? Those are the numbers that actually matter. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can save $50,000 and still be one layoff away from panic. But if you build $2,000 a month in side income, you're anti-fragile. You're in control. And that feeling, that shift from fragile to resilient, that's what $500 a month should be building. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of this. Because this isn't just about math. It's about how you feel every single day. When $500 feels useless, it's not because the number is small. It's because the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels impossible. It's because you're doing everything right, but freedom still feels like it's on the other side of a wall you can't climb. And that gap, that's what kills motivation. That's what makes people give up. Not because they are lazy, but because effort without visible progress is exhausting. So here's what you do. You shrink the gap. You stop aiming for financial freedom as this giant, distant, abstract thing. And you start aiming for micro-wins. Small, tangible, emotionally rewarding milestones that prove you're moving. Like your first $100 from a side project. Your first month where investments cover your phone bill. Your first week where you didn't check your bank account out of anxiety. Those aren't the finish line, but they are proof. Proof that the system works. Proof that you're not stuck. Proof that $500 a month, used right, is actually building something real. And proof? Proof is what keeps you going. Here's the thing nobody tells you about money. It's not just a tool. It's a mirror. It reflects your priorities, your fears, your beliefs about what's possible. And if you're saving $500 a month and it feels useless, that's not about the money. That's about the story you're telling yourself. Maybe the story is, I'll never have enough. Maybe it's, I'm too far behind. Maybe it's, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, so why doesn't it feel like enough? And those stories, they're not just thoughts. They are the operating system running your financial life. So if you want $500 to feel different, you have to rewrite the story. Instead of, I'm saving for someday, try, I'm building leverage. Instead of, I'm behind, try, I'm compounding. Instead of, this isn't enough, try, this is a fuel, not the finish line. Because the truth is, $500 a month is more than most people ever put toward their future. It's more than enough to build something real. But only if you treat it like the beginning of a strategy, not the end of your responsibility. And here's the final piece. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. Most people don't think this deeply about their money. They don't question whether they are doing it right. They just do what they are told and hope it works out. But you're here because you know something's off. You know there's a better way. And that awareness, that's the real asset. Because once you see that $500 a month can be fuel instead of just savings, you can't unsee it. And once you start using it that way, everything shifts. Your confidence shifts. Your timeline shifts. Your whole relationship with money shifts. And that shift, that's what this is really about. So if this hit differently, if you're sitting here thinking, okay, I need to rethink how I'm doing this, do me a favor. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what your $500 is currently doing. Tell me what you want it to do. Because the more we talk about this stuff, the more people realize they are not alone in feeling stuck. And if you want more of this, more psychology, more strategy, more real talk about money and life and how to actually move forward, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. You've got the fuel. Now let's build the engine.